Alright, part 2 of E3 coverage coming right at you. That should have been out maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago. But yeah, this is Moraduke once again, so I'm going to continue from my last video and go on to EA. And EA started out with the thing that me and a lot of other people wanted to see from EA this year, and that's the new Star Wars Battlefront. Unfortunately, this was a lot of concept footage. They showed like the team that's working on Battlefront going to the Lucas museums and looking at the props that were used in the movies, and they showed that they're actually going to on the actual locations where the movie was filmed to try and get a better feel of the universe that they're making into the game. And unfortunately, they showed that more information won't be shown until spring 2015. I officially have blue balls. I have it here. Yeah. It looks promising, but not, like, gameplay wasn't really shown. It's just shown like, hey, we're, this is a small behind the scenes look. We're making Battlefront, so that's great, I guess. Wasn't really a lot of info shown about it. Then Andrew Wilson is the new EA CEO. He comes out, this Ziggy Stardust looking motherfucker. Then after that, Dragon Age Inquisition, drama-filled trailer is shown because, it has a lot of drama in it. It's just, bitches just oozing with drama because they have a cellist that's actually playing on the stage as the trailer is being shown in the background. So, Aaron Flynn, the studio general manager of who's working on Dragon Age Inquisition, he describes the game as thus, and I quote, "Step into the world on the brink of chaos as the Inquisitor. Your past and motivations are shrouded in mystery. The choice on how to proceed is yours. You will assemble a team of unique and powerful heroes to lead them against the forces of evil. You'll become legends in the Dragon Age." Boy, that sounds like every RPG ever. like seriously, can you think of a more generic premise for an RPG than that? Yawn. Yeah, then it shows a boring gameplay clip of warriors fighting a dragon. It's Dragon Age. BioWare is also making a Mass Effect game. Yeah. Nothing's shown about it, really. It was even more like abbreviated behind-the-scenes kind of featurette than what happened with Star Wars Battlefront. We don't know if it's going to be a sequel, a prequel. There's no release date. There's hardly any details. They're making a new Mass Effect game. That's it. We don't even know what platforms it's going to be on. The Sims 4 is announced. That promises more customization and personality traits. A lot of people are saying that looks just like The Sims 3, which I can buy that. That's typical for EA. To just, recycle 90% of their previous game and make the extra 10%, like, fiddle with that a little bit and then throw it in a shiny new box and call it a new game. It's depressing. And I know they're not the only ones guilty of doing that, but it's pretty much their forte. A clip of Bruce Lee plays, but my interest is quickly waned when UFC is shown. I don't know if I'm the only one that thinks Bruce Lee looks incredibly out of place in UFC. Didn't really do anything for me, though. NHL 15 is shown. That looks cool. Marks the debut of the series on the Xbox One and the PS4. Creatine Games, Patrick Soderlund comes out to introduce them. They're making something with vehicles in it. Lots of vehicles. Fucking thing looked like Pilot Wings. And then I got a little depressed because I want an actual Pilot Wings game, and not something that's a half-assed fucking Wii Sports Resort game that Pilot Wings Resort was. But yeah, they're making a game. Really early pre-alpha footage is shown. You know what I mean? Concept footage. That's the word I was trying to think of. So yeah. Okay. Now can you show me an actual game now? After that, the new PGA Tour comes out. This is pretty funny. This PGA Tour is going to have extreme fantasy courses, and they showed an actual guy trying to get a hole-in-one on a course, and this fucking, it looks like a map from Battlefield, and this big cruiser like crashes into the fucking the land, like right around where the where the hole is to finish the golf course. I don't know the actual term for it. I don't play golf, but yeah, you know, I guess that's one way to spice up your golf game. So that looks kind of cool, but I don't know. I like, you know, the thing with sports games is I like the more arcadey type games. Like Tecmo Super Bowl on the NES is one of my favorite games of all time, and definitely one of my favorite NES games. If I didn't have Tecmo Super Bowl to choose, which that wouldn't want to be a world I'd want to live in, it'd probably be something like NBA Jam or the old NHL games on the Sega Genesis, or NFL Blitz, you know, stuff like that. That doesn't take it doesn't take itself too seriously. Like NBA Live can be fun, or the NBA 2K games or something like that, but I couldn't play them for an extended period of time. So yeah, I like the more arcadey sports games, and I wish they'd make a comeback. I mean, like, remember Mutant League Football on the Genesis? I remember Bill Laimbeer's Combat Basketball on the Super Nintendo. I made a mention to that on my very, very first video here on YouTube, so go check that out, where I made a video about Speedball 2 for the PC. Yeah, you know, like, that's why I kind of, like, my eyes glaze over when they talk about all these realistic sports games. Like, maybe I don't want something realistic, you know? But anyway, speaking of, Madden NFL 15 gameplay trailer shown. Nobody cares. It's Madden. Moving on. FIFA 15, new graphics, new gameplay system, blah, blah, blah. Same shit every year. And then they finally close out the conference with Battlefield Hardline. This is the one game that was shown this year that I actually have pre-ordered, because I loves me some Battlefield. I am kind of sore that they're, I guess they're selling it. Yeah, they are selling it. I just pre-ordered it. Duh. Gotta wake up here. I'm a bit sore that this does look very, very similar to Battlefield 4. Granted, it's still in the beta stages, but it's also coming out in 4 months. July, August, well, like 3 months. Almost 4. 3.5. Let's go with 3.5. But they're selling it as a full-priced game when it really looks like DLC for Battlefield 4. And they're really not done with Battlefield 4, so it kind of sucks. But really, like, I look down the pipeline and there's nothing I really want to play on the Xbox One right now. And I know if I buy a Battlefield game, I'm going to put like 200 hours in that motherfucker, because I just love the game. So yeah, they're going to sell it as a full-price game. They're going to sell it with its own separate premium membership, I think. And I'm thinking, you know, if it's really an expansion pack to Battlefield 4, at the very least what you can do is people who already bought a premium membership for Battlefield 4, if you can at least link that with Battlefield Hardline, but, you know, they won't, which is kind of stupid, you know. You know, throw the customers a bone, just like that, you know. But, yeah, single player is said to be more like an episode of a crime drama TV show than a normal set-piece campaign. That's pretty cool. Extended gameplay shown after the trailer. Beta access started actually that day for the PC and PS4. I wasn't going to be salty about that. Like, there was a twinge of salt, I felt, but that wasn't announced for the Xbox One. But I'm like, you know what? I want to play it. They're going to have a second beta in the autumn. Like, I would say maybe at the beginning of October before the game comes out, or maybe in September, where they hammer out the final kinks before they press the discs for it. But they said, yeah, if it's for PC and PS4, if they want to play like the alpha or the beta or whatever, was it? Yeah, it was beta access. I'm sorry. Yeah, I can wait for it. You know what I mean? I've got plenty of other stuff to play, and I'd like to play the game in a more finished state than it is, so I really don't care. Matter of fact, if you went to the sign-up page, you can choose Other as a platform, and if you did that, you got like little trinkets when you get Hardline, and you also got a special dog tag for Battlefield 4, so that was pretty cool. But yeah, it looks a lot like Battlefield 4, I wrote down. Right down to the movement, the HUD, the ribbon awards that pop up on the screen, the spotting. icons for the control points on the maps, like it looks almost identical. And it is kind of silly that, you know, it's an actual Battlefield game, but it's kind of, they kind of make a cops and robbers premise out of it. You know, so you're still going to have like armored vehicles, you're still going to have helicopters, you're still going to have people with like rocket launchers and shit. And they're setting up the whole premise as like cops basically trying to stop robbers doing like a bank robbery and stuff. And it's like, really, it's like an all-out war. You know what I mean? Like, could you just scale it back just a little bit? But I know, in that specific case, it looks like it's over the top and it can actually be fun. So whatever. I believe it showed October 17th. That's the release date on the trailer. That got moved to October 21st. But yeah, I'll be getting that day one. There's actually, I went to Best Buy and they're actually doing like a deluxe edition for $10 more that allows you to buy, it's going to include like extra weapons or battle packs or something like that. And I went ahead and got that version. I really thought long and hard about it because I really don't want to support stuff like that. You know, $60 games should be $60. Like, I really don't want to pay any more than that. But I give it a pass because it's Battlefield. I know I'm going to play the ever-loving fuck out of it. But yeah, like I said, it's really DLC for Battlefield 4 and it should be treated as such. You know, if they just made it like a $15 piece of DLC for Battlefield 4, they'd lose a lot of money. You know, because I know people are going to buy this for $60 regardless, but hey, I mean, in my eyes, it would be the right thing to do for your customers. So, it is what it is. But that's EA, basically. Moving on to Ubisoft. Ubisoft had even less stuff to show. Far Cry 4 opened the conference. Showed like the opening cutscene. Aisha Tyler came back to host the conference for the third consecutive year in a row. Just Dance 2015 was shown. The most interesting thing that was shown there is you can use an app on your smartphone to actually use as a controller for the screen. So you can have like fucking 20 people in a room dancing to Just Dance. You know, if it works right, that's pretty cool if you're into that. The Division, like a time-lapse sort of trailer was shown after the effects of what happened with the epidemic. The whole story premise with the Division is an epidemic ran rampant across the United States, eradicating the country in just 5 days. You play as a member of a government-approved task force to salvage whatever's left in the country. And it's supposed to be an MMO type game where you face AI and other players at the same time. So they're really doing like a large-scale type MMO type game with this. I mean, it looks cool. Like I said about Evolve in the Microsoft conference in my last video, it's a multiplayer game. Like, are people going to be interested in it? Are people going to stick around? You know, like, how long is it going to, like, how long is the community going to last? Because if you don't have a community, you don't have a multiplayer game. You know, and I've seen a lot of multiplayer games come and go. Like, good ones, too, but they just didn't have the name recognition, they didn't have the budget, they didn't have anything like that to stick around for long. And it sucks, you know, it's just the nature of the beast, I guess. I already said the Division comes out in 2015, that's no surprise. The Crew is shown, racing game. Creative director Julian Garrity comes out to announce an open beta on July 23rd. The game comes out on November 11th for the PS4, Xbox One, and PC. Assassin's Creed Unity is back, of course, because it's Ubisoft. They show more gameplay plus more details about the game. It takes place in Paris in 1789 during the French Revolution, I think it is. Released on October 28th. Like I said before in a Microsoft conference, it's Assassin's Creed with 4-player co-op. That's it. I didn't see really anything different about it. Shape Up is announced. This was kind of interesting. It's like a fitness type game for the Kinect. Partnership with Microsoft for the Xbox One. This comes out this November. One game is demonstrated where creative director Charles Hightow is simulating stepping on piano keys on a mat on the stage. Looks like a pared down version of DDR. That's a Dance Dance Revolution for you kids out there. Another is shown between two Ubisoft employees, which is a push-up contest with varying elements on the screen to kind of keep it interesting. And that's basically the best way to describe this game. I don't know if the pad they used on stage is going to be needed. I'm assuming it's not. They just wanted to lay something down on the stage and you can just use the Kinect. But it looked like a fun little exercise game, you know, and there's stuff on stage to keep you entertained, so exercise isn't boring. So that could be something, you know. I might pick that up. It depends how much it is and if it actually works well. Valiant Hearts: The Great War is announced. This was the UbiArt engine using game that I talked about in the last video. It takes place during World War I. Billed as a puzzle/adventure game following 4 individuals and their canine companion. Inspired by history and letters sent during the tens of millions of mobilized soldiers from 1914 to 1918. This game is already out. Came out June 25th. That's really interesting with the letters, where they use like actual messages and weave the story into this game through those letters. I'm not really interested in it though, because it's puzzle/adventure, whereas Child of Light, that also used this engine, it was an old like JRPG. That game was like a love letter to the great JRPG games of the 90s. I meant to make a separate video on Child of Light. I still might, but that game was amazing. Amazing. If you haven't played Child of Light, you know, after this video, I want you to immediately go to Steam or go on your console and download Child of Light. It's $15. It's one of the best games. It's not only my game of the year of 2014, like with absolute certainty I can say it's my game of the year, because nothing else coming out this year is going to even come close to that game. It's one of the best games I've ever played, period. It's amazing. Go play Child of Light. If you have an even passing interest in RPGs, go play that game. It's phenomenal. But moving on from that, Yves Guillemot comes out, the CEO, the little short French dude, Napoleon-looking motherfucker comes out. Yves Guillemot, I think that's how you pronounce his name. Comes out to thank the fans, congratulate the development teams, and Rainbow Six is back. This is what stole the conference for me. Rainbow Six Siege. 6 years before the last Rainbow Six game. Can you believe that? They showed this awesome trailer. Again, this was pre-alpha footage or whatever of a multiplayer match. And it showed a hostage situation in this remote house where your team of, you know, Rainbow Six soldiers has to go in and rescue hostages. I immediately had flashbacks to the very first Rainbow Six game on the PC. I mean, when that came out, it was unlike anything else at the time, because you had your shooters, like your normal shooters, like you know, Quake and stuff like that, where it was fast and frantic. It was kind of arcadey. You ran around. You got like key cards and got your med kits and shit like that. Then this game comes along that's really hyper realistic, really tactical. Like you can literally get killed in one shot, and you had to like if you've ever played Rainbow Six, if you remember like mapping out your entrance and exits, and like it was really something when that first came out. This game looked a lot like that. They didn't show like a tactical view of the match before, but I mean, this really drew parallels to the very first Rainbow Six. There was one point that kind of impressed me in the trailer where they're going to rescue a hostage, and they one of the soldiers throws this little like robotic camera under the door to see exactly where the terrorists are positioned with the hostage, and they can't breach the room because there's too many of them and their positioning isn't right. So what the one guy does, the guy who's actually showing as being played in the multiplayer match, he goes to the next floor up, and he, I believe he blows open the door, and he goes into the room right above the room where the hostage is in, and he C4s the fucking ceiling, blows a hole in the ceiling, drops down into the room, and they take out the terrorists, they grab the hostage. And it's cool because he's like holding the hostage, and when you're holding the hostage, you only have one arm, so you can only use a pistol. And I believe this match was timed, I don't know if it was 5 minutes or 10 minutes, but right before they finally escape, they're going to escape out the way they came in. They breach the house, they rappelled down from the top of the house, and they like smashed through the windows. That looked cool too. right before the gameplay trailer ends, and he's about to escape, the last terrorist, like, he turns around, he sees the last terrorist, and then the screen goes black. So that was really, really something. That's something I'm going to keep my eye on. Good to see Rainbow Six back, though. Not only that, but it's good to see it back in its original iteration, like what Rainbow Six should be, what it was in the beginning. So, you know, I bitch about reboots, but that looked something like it looked new, but it took what was great about the series in the beginning and kind of melded them together. Like, but I said it's pre-alpha footage, so that could very well change. I really hope it doesn't. Like, I hope they keep going in that direction, and I'll definitely keep an eye on that. But that was Ubisoft, basically. Sony. There's people that say Sony absolutely stole the show, just like they did last year. I think they're full of shit. This was one of the most boring conferences I've ever watched in my life. Like it went on for almost 2 hours. And thank God I wrote stuff down about it, because I wouldn't have remembered half of the shit they showed. But I'll get right into it. The conference opens with a landing on Mars, fleshes out into a trailer of Destiny. Looks alright. Destiny's not really doing anything for me. It's basically Borderlands if you put it in the Halo universe. Take Borderlands, skin everything so it looks like Halo, so it has the Halo aesthetic. That's Destiny, pretty much. And just like Microsoft is pushing Sunset Overdrive, Sony's really pushing Destiny hard. I wrote here, after looking at post-conference gameplay videos, it looks a lot like Halo. Big surprise. Like, I remember Bungie saying they wanted to get out of the shackles of Microsoft, where they had them in contract to make Halo games, and they wanted to be more independent, and they wanted to work on something new. So actually what happened was they got out of bed with Microsoft after Halo was done. Then they got into bed with Sony pretty much to release exclusive content for the PlayStation, and they're making a game just like Halo. So, you know, they wanted to do something completely different. They ended up doing pretty much the same thing. So, originality paradox, guys? I don't know. The flags at control points, the vehicles, it looks a lot like Halo. It's Borderlands with a Halo aesthetic, just like I said. Then our old friend Andrew House comes out on stage. Play It First, Play It Better is shown on the screen. July 18th beta for PS4 gamers for Destiny. The alpha is already underway for PS4 gamers. So if you have a PS4, you can check out Destiny. Then a white PS4 bundle that comes out with Destiny and a month of PlayStation Plus that comes out on September 9th. I believe the bundle's $450. Let's see, PS4 exclusive new IP announcement, a third-person action game called The Order 1886. We saw this last year. There really wasn't a big difference from what was shown last year. They showed like very, very small snippets of gameplay. So it was another CG trailer with maybe 10 seconds of gameplay footage tacked onto it. That's not an exaggeration. It just looks like basically just like every other third-person game with like supernatural shit in it. So, yeah. Moving on to Entwined. This was an indie game announced. It's $10. It was announced that day, so like it was released that day, so it's already out. It's a game about two souls in love that can't be together. Like, one's a bird and one's a fish, but if you get into the end of the game, they come together, make this beautiful dragon. But it's you use both of the characters with both of the analog sticks, and you fly through these like shapes, like through this tunnel-looking screen. It looks kind of interesting. Looks neat. I wrote down it's an artsy game about flying through colored blocks and stuff. That's basically what I got from it. Post-conference footage shows stories take on an old traditional Chinese story. The two creatures can't be together, will become one at the end of the journey. So, nice artsy-fartsy looking game, I guess. Moving on to Infamous Second Son, it's getting standalone DLC called Infamous First Light with a female protagonist. I wrote, somewhere Anita Sarkinson is breathing a sigh of relief. There, you have a female hero now. Little Big Planet 3 announcement and gameplay footage. 4 different characters will be used here to get through the levels a la Lost Vikings, as we watch the presenters try to use them awkwardly for about 15 minutes. Oh man, did this thing drone on. Okay, like it's Little Big Planet and it has co-op, we get it. And they stretch this way too fucking long. The trailer is then showing more levels. I think it's compatible with the levels from the last game. I'm not exactly sure, but that comes out in November. Shuhei Yoshida comes out. New IP announcement directed from Software. And Bloodborne is shown coming in 2015. So this is the latest game in the Souls series. Man, everyone is nutting their pants and treating the Souls series like it's the second coming of Christ for gaming, and I don't get it. Like, I've watched videos of Dark Souls and Dark Souls 2, and I think it's appealing because it's different from other action RPGs out there. It's more of a hardcore experience. But yeah, like, people are saying just because of Bloodborne, Sony won E3. Really? Like, it's that big of a deal? Like, I know people that are going to buy PS4s just to play this when it comes out. So yeah, I've really got to jump on the Souls train, and I really got to see what the hype is all about there, because from what I've heard, man, I've heard so much hype about the Souls series that it possibly really can't live up to it. So yeah, Bloodborne, it's not, I didn't, like, it showed CG footage. It was just like how Scalebound was shown by Platinum in the Xbox conference. No gameplay footage, but hey, it's going to be like a Souls game, so we'll buy it. You know, want to see more of it first. Far Cry 4 is shown again, this time with gameplay footage, heavy emphasis on co-op, big fucking surprise. It looks pretty cool. Yeah, the elephant being completely unfazed by a giant explosion right in front of him was interesting to end the trailer, where they go into this village, and something like a vehicle or a guard tower or something was blown up, like, because an elephant charged into the building. So that was interesting. Adam Boyes comes out. When Far Cry 4 comes out in November on PS3 and PS4, friends on PSN will get to join you in the game even if they don't own it. Of course, they don't explain how to do this, so I'm assuming that everyone else who doesn't have the game will have to download a client on their system or something like that. But of all the games you're going to do that feature with, like Far Cry 4, really? Wouldn't you think it'd be fun to do something like that with like one of the Souls games or something like that? Do the Souls games have co-op? I don't think they do. I know they have multiplayer where another person can invade someone else's world and stuff like that, but really, you're going to waste that feature on Far Cry? Interesting. Then he went on again about claiming to get a lot of letters from fans about zombies and such. Then we cut to some douche running with his iPod while the town around him gets destroyed by a zombie outbreak. He then rapidly transforms into one himself, continues running down the street with his zombie posse like some retarded version of Thriller, the music video I'm looking at, before a van comes up from behind the group of undead and runs him down. The driver then marvels at how tubular the zombie's shoes on his dismembered feet are, and takes them and drives off, and it's revealed to be Dead Island 2. The sequel that nobody asked for. 30-day exclusive beta on PS4, you can keep it. Moving on, Diablo 3 Ultimate Evil Edition comes out August 19th. I wrote, nobody still cares about Diablo on a fucking console, even if it has a Last of Us themed dungeon. Like that's gonna change anybody's mind. Then they showed an exclusive trailer for Battlefield Hardline. I already shared my thoughts on Hardline. It looks pretty cool. Partnership with Disney for Disney Infinity figures for PS3 and PS4. Moving on. Exclusive in-game content for Destiny at launch. Mars has explained the Mars footage that was shown at the beginning of the conference. It's explained as one of the many co-op missions in the game. Then they announced a partnership with Paradox Interactive. Adam said every studio working on every studio within Paradox is working on a PS4 exclusive game. There's an announcement of Magica 2, or Magica, or however you pronounce it, the game with the little hooded, the red hooded wizard dude. That was really, it's really like a good co-op game. It's like an isometric. If you've ever played Magica, if you haven't, look it up. I played it very briefly, so it's a bit hard to explain. I have it on my Steam account here. This is another timed exclusive. This is not a PS4 exclusive because there's no way they're going to not make a Magica game on the PC. Magica, I don't even know if I'm saying that right, but yeah, that's a thing. Grim Fandango remaster announcement. Exclusive to PS4 and the Vita for now. LucasArts games on a console, no thanks, call me when this is $5 on Steam. That pretty much sums that up. Grim Fandango is a great game. It's fantastic that a remaster is happening because I think I read on the internet that a lot of people are having problems with the original version, trying to get it running, on modern consoles. So I'll give a nod to Sony for getting this project rolling and making a Grim Fandango remaster a thing. But yeah, the last thing I want to play a fucking old LucasArts adventure game on, like point and click adventure game, is a fucking console, let alone the Vita. Seriously? So yeah, like I just said, a PC port is inevitable. Tim Schafer said on his Twitter that it's coming to PS4 and Vita for now. Other platforms will be discussed in the future. It's going to come to PC at least. As long as it comes to Steam or good old games, I'm fine with it because that's the only place I'm going to fucking play it. I'm not going to play Grim Fandango with anything but a mouse connected to a PC. Give me a fucking break. So, you know, you can have a gimped down version of Grim Fandango on your Sony console. I'll wait for the definitive version. Devolver Digital announcement of console debuts that will show on PS4 first. Oh, they showed like Broforce, Not a Hero, Hotline Miami, Wrong Number, Talos Principle by Crow Team, which is a philosophical puzzler type game. You know, more timed exclusive stuff. Suda 51 PS4 exclusive, Let It Die. This is the most intriguing thing I saw out of all of Sony's conference. He must really like the Manhunt series. It looked like something, it looked like a cross between Manhunt and like the Hostel movies or something like that. Like this game was gory as fuck. Comes out 2015, no big surprise there. Then Giant Squid, the developer of a game called Abzu, A-B-Z-U. That's a PS4 exclusive, another indie game. Looks like it's about underwater exploring where you're a scuba diver. That looks alright, I guess. Another console debut PS4 game, a very orange and purple looking game called No Man's Sky. People made a big stink about this too, and it was cool for Sony to bring Sean Murray from Hello Games onto the stage, and you could tell he was really nervous and kind of giddy about it, so that was kind of cool. For a very small development studio to get recognition like that on Sony's stage at E3, because you know he's going to get publicity from that. People are billing this as, you know, the next like great flight type adventure game, and again, I've got to see more of it. I want more details about it. It's a very open-ended, very ambitious project where, you know, you start out, you have this ginormous fucking galaxy to explore. And they're, you know, he's making all these claims like, you know, no game is ever going to be the same, no planet is ever going to be the same, everything's going to be different in the world. Like, you know how many times we've heard that already? You know, and it comes out and it's basically like everything else, like the originality paradox I mentioned before. He explains it's inspired by sci-fi book covers and imaginary worlds. Later conference gameplay footage suggests a very open-ended world with emergent gameplay. You start at the edge of a huge galaxy and eventually have to explore your way to the middle of it along with other players online. You know? Too ambitious? Most likely. Getting vibes from Spore, too. Like, remember Spore? Remember how Spore made these promises, too? How it was going to be the best game ever, and it was going to, you know, revolutionize gaming. All Spore did was revolutionize the bargain bin. I don't even think multiplayer servers exist for Spore anymore, so it's nigh unplayable. But then we go back to Andrew House. The PS4 camera will be enhanced by Project Morpheus, which is their VR device going alongside Oculus Rift. Yeah, that was revealed back in the Game Developers Conference earlier this year. Games are being worked on with this new VR device. So if you have the camera, you'll be able to use Project Morpheus if you're also going to get on board with that. I guess that's a thing. Sean Layden is announced, or Sean Layden is introduced by Andrew House here as Jack Tretton's successor. So he's the new CEO of the American division of Sony, about the American division of their gaming division, whatever. You know what I mean. PS4 system stats incoming. So, you know, everyone, if you want to take a shit break or a pee break or make a sandwich break or whatever, this was the time to do it. 95% of PS4s are connected to PSN, service that promised to make better and better. Over 1.25 billion hours spent gaming, 1 billion multiplayer matches, 200 million uses of the share button, and YouTube ad coming to PS4 later this year. Wow! So PS4 is finally getting YouTube. Wow, way to stay current there, guys. Share button will integrate with YouTube. 150 million spectate sessions have taken place. So there's your fucking Apple conference stats right there that no one gives a shit about except them and their shareholders. New Playroom content coming this summer. Best destination for free-to-play games. That was a quote. More than 25 free-to-play games coming in the next year. All that was really interesting out of those was PlanetSide 2, Kingdom Under Fire 2, and Gunza. Gameplay reel is shown of a few other titles. Then we go into PlayStation Now. We'll start an open beta in the US and Canada on July 31st. Claim of more than 100 PS3 games being available will be streamed. PS3 and Vita support is soon to follow, even on certain Sony TVs. Let's see, more than 100 Vita titles in development. Since Child of Light is one of them, the other 99 plus don't matter. Play Child of Light. If you don't listen to any other fucking thing I say on my entire channel, play Child of Light, please. That game, I was actually bummed that Ubisoft didn't announce a sequel to that, because I would have been so fucking on board. That would have probably been the fastest pre-order I've ever done in my life. But moving on with boring Sony announcements here. PlayStation TV was announced at the Tokyo Game Show last year, but now it's coming to the US as PlayStation TV. Or I'm sorry, it was announced. It was announced over in Japan as PlayStation Vita TV, but they dropped the whole Vita of it, which is kind of smart because people relate more to PlayStation itself than the PlayStation Vita. Vita means life. It's like that was supposed to be like a selling pitch of the system, and now it's just a punchline. Vita means life. PlayStation TV was announced Tokyo Game Show, I already said that, but now it's coming to the US, Canada, and Europe this fall. Can be paired with the PS4 to play games on a second TV and can also play standalone Vita games itself. $99 price tag, not too shabby. They also announced a $139 bundle that includes controller, HDMI cable, a digital voucher for the Lego Movie game, and an 8 gig memory card. So they're skimping a little bit on the 8 gig memory card, but not a bad thing. I mean, it's basically a Vita without the portability of it. So if you want to save a little money but you really want to play something on the Vita, this is the ticket. Mortal Kombat X gameplay footage is shown. Juggle combos and slow-mo X-ray vision hits are alive and well. Post-conference gameplay videos make it look even more sick. Reminds me a lot of the new version of Killer Instinct, just the way they move and the way they attack and stuff like that. But they just really amped up the gore in this one. Probably more than any other game in the series. The stage environments are claimed to be used more, so you can like manipulate the stages you're in, like to do different things during the fight. Then they talked about a TV series called Powers, inspired by Marvel Comics. I don't really give a fuck. You'll get to watch it for free if you're a PlayStation Plus subscriber. Ratchet and Clank the movie. Why would you make a movie of Ratchet and Clank and not make a new game? So there's an animated movie coming out, I guess, and they also made a passing announcement of they're going to remaster the very first Ratchet and Clank game. They didn't say anything about it. Again, no release date, no footage, nothing. We're remaking Ratchet and Clank 1. Okay, moving on. Like, that was it. The Last of Us for PS4 is shown. It's being remastered for the PS4. Something in the way is butchered. What the fuck is it with these Sony trailers being made and with them having shitty fucking Nirvana covers in it? You know, I made a joke that, you know, that there's extra power going into the Sony conference to like power all their lights and their dazzling show that they're doing by, you know, Kurt Cobain spinning in his fucking grave with a power generator next to him, because it might as well have happened. Like, can Sony not afford like the actual Nirvana song? They have to have a shitty cover version of it. They did it last year with Infamous Second Son with Heart-Shaped Box. Now they're doing it this year with Something in the Way. Like, just leave them alone, man. Like, Kurt Cobain to me has a very, very, very unique voice, and it's very hard to replicate. And if you can't replicate it, then you might as well not even try, because it just sounds terrible. But Last of Us, the new version, comes out July 19th, so a couple more weeks. We don't have to wait for that. New trailer of Metal Gear Solid 5, The Phantom Pain is shown, but no release date on the game. In a move that I saw coming from fucking miles away from like a year ago, Grand Theft Auto 5 is coming to PS4 this fall. PS3 360 players will be able to transfer their character over. That's a daring move. That's a pretty good way to get your Xbox 360 gamers over to the PlayStation 4 platform. That was sly. Only problem is it's also coming to PC and Xbox One that they conveniently left out. Like, they could have at least mentioned the PC version, but I guess they wanted to get as many people over to the PS4 as, you know, as possible. So, more slime ball marketing tactics. Batman Arkham Knight gameplay shown, looks alright. Exclusive Scarecrow Nightmare missions only on PS4. It's an Arkham game. If you ever played an Arkham game, you know what to expect. Conference closes with a trailer of Uncharted 4: A Thief's End that comes out in 2015. No Last Guardian. Wah, wah, wah. Yeah, a lot of people were looking for Last Guardian this year. That Team Ico announced, what, fucking years ago, where they showed a CG trailer of it. And people say it's canceled, Sony says it's not, and they've been going back and forth on this ever since the game was announced, and they state that they're working on it, but it's just not ready to be shown yet. So, you know, maybe we'll get to see like 30 seconds of CG footage trailer for Last Guardian. But, yeah, I'm gonna knock that off. Really, like, but that was it. Like, Sony won E3. Yeah, they won by putting me to sleep. Give me a break. The only things that were even remotely interesting at the Sony conference were the white PS4 bundle. I want that white PS4, but I want like $100 knocked off of it, and I don't want Destiny with it. So if it was like $150 less, maybe I'd bite. I don't know. Really, ultimately, I'll get a PS4 when, one, there's something worth playing on it to me. 2, I can run homebrew on it, and 3, it costs somewhere around like $250. That's when I'll have a PS4 in my house. That's just my opinion. But yeah, that and the Suda51 game, Let It Die. I wish that wasn't an exclusive. That looks pretty cool. Like I said before, I'm not a big Souls fan, so I really don't. The Bloodborne trailer really didn't do anything for me. And of course, Grim Fandango. But like I said, I'll be interested when that comes to PC, and maybe I'll play that sometime after that happens. I got so much shit to play. I'm so far behind. But yeah, everything else Sony announced was practically snoozeville to me. I don't get the big deal. But I'll cut this video off here. I'm going to move on to Nintendo and do the rest of the announcements here. get this E3 footage up, and I'll go to working on other videos. I have plenty of other videos, it's just having the time to actually do them. So thank you for watching again, and I will see you on the next video.